I'm sure you guys can guess what this is.
So sitting here on my Garfield Pants infested lap might be a very familiar sight if you're a Creeping Net fan going way back before I did YouTube videos. Yeah, this computer, it might not look familiar yet, but let's open the top. It is the DFI MediaBook 9200D, aka the NanTan FMAK 9200 or FMAP 9200. This one looks like another one like my Versa V50 that was like hanging around a computer repair shop for years, and they decided to clean out the back rooms. As you can see, parts are repaired. DFI MediaBook. They think it's 25 megahertz. Well, we'll find out pretty easy here because this thing's almost as easy to work on as my Versas are. And no hard drive, no scratch on it. It has a scratch on the screen, but honestly, that's not going to bother me, and I could probably buff that out. No power supply. Not that I have a problem with that. My work laptop over here has a universal one and plenty of plugs that might actually work with this thing. So when we look at the DFI, let's take a look at this machine. This is a Socket 3 compatible 486 laptop computer that uses desktop processor chips. I had two other ones just like this in the early days of Creeping Net before YouTube. Although this one's keyboard feels a lot better than those did. Those two were both also FMAP or FMAK 9200s. One of them was a Duracom 511D, and then another one was a monochrome ProStar 9200M. This is exactly as I remember it, although this one seems to be a much cleaner example. As you can see, there's the DFI logo. When NanTan made these for other companies, they just silkscreened whatever logo on there. As you can see, it says MediaBook on the screen. If you look down here, here's the power button. There's the speaker. This has ESS 688 audio drive audio. I really wanted to pick this up, not just because I really missed this particular laptop. I mean, this one has a very good feeling trackball. The trackball in it's very reliable. This one has a nice keyboard, which is really a game changer for this one. She's looking pretty clean inside here, aside from the one scratch on the screen. Yeah, it's a DTSN, so it's not as good as, say, my NEC M75 over here, which has an active matrix screen on it, or all the Versas up there that have active matrix. So when we look at it, that's it. I think it's like a 10.5 or a 9.5. I think it's 10. I think this one's actually a 9.5, and they use 10.5 later on. It does a nice little mold around. Anyway, we're going to take more of a look at it. Flip her over to the bottom. You have two nickel metal hydride batteries here that pop out with these. I think they're about 9 volts each. Yes, we're going to try to bring these back to life somewhat. And as we can see here, just like the NEC, that's the sense pin, that's negative, and that's plus. So we'll probably want to zap those two pins. Over here, same deal. These probably are the original batteries of the system. And then, alright, we're going to put these back in. The last one I had, I didn't even have the batteries in it because I couldn't even figure out how to bring these things back to life. They are a little tricky to fit in, but once you get them there, they go in. We'll just put them off to the side here for now. Contacts look good. Looks like no battery leakage. Yeah, a little bit of dirt and stuff. So she's going to need a cleaning. There's the ventilations on it. If we look over here, here's the sticker. This is... Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about NanTan. NanTan's a Taiwanese laptop computer manufacturer. They started gaining some foothold in the PC market with the FMA 2200 in, I think, like 1988 or 1989, which was a 286. Then they had a series of very familiar ones. You've probably seen these. They have the battery, NiCad battery that attaches with thumb screws in the back. I had one of those. It was the 3200, 3300, and 3500. This one's a later model, 9200. I'm surprised. This is a very early one. It's 1991. My last one was a 93. I think. As you can see, there is a sticker here. Maybe this was one of the ones upgraded to active matrix. We don't know. Supposedly it boots to the BIOS, but you know, I don't know what's under this cover because it's been a long time since I've had a NanTan. So right here, I think they didn't realize with the auction that it had a hard drive, because this is the hard drive. Same sort of deal like the NEC Versa. Own little special caddy, except this one's a bit better built than the NEC caddies are. And yeah, we're going to throw an 80 gig in there with a bunch of data and crap on it. You know, just to appease the gods of retro computing. And I actually am pretty sure the current day ones might actually screw in here. So you can see, just like the Versa, you have two Pcmcia slots. These are your release levers on each side for each slot. Yeah, there you go. A good shot. So two Pcmcia slots. It even looks like they made the space a little higher here so you could have a Type 3 card in there and still use the other Type 2 port. On the back, let's see what connectors we've got. This is part of the reason I picked these up and why this is a really good buy if you're going for a retro DOS gaming laptop and you're looking for something inexpensive or something that's a 486 that's going to check almost all the boxes. It's got this right here, a standard barrel jack, which means I can use my universal charger with it. VGA port, parallel port, serial port. There was a docking station for this somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Of course, the cover's been ripped off. I don't really care. PS2 mouse port. Not like I'd ever really want that. This one looks like it was well loved and well used. Fan, floppy drive. Here's your sound card stuff. You have a headphone jack, line in, and a microphone in. So it is basically a MediaBook full-fledged multimedia laptop. So now to get it in underneath and see what she actually has for hardware, we're going to pop this little cover here. It just slides forward and then it lifts off. And this allows you to get into... And as you can see already right there, there's our microprocessor with the typical NanTan thing on it. Then you release the keyboard with these two little tabs here, so no taking this thing apart to get it stuff. In some ways, this is a bit better put together than the NECs, but I like the NECs for their screens more than anything. Board out, you got your proprietary memory module here. I'm not sure what capacity that is, so we'll have to wait and see. And the CPU right here has a different number on it too. Anyway, the CPU just lifts right out. This is very likely going to be a DX4100 if this is any indication. If not, since it's sealed up, because some of these NanTans, I've seen them where they have clips on the sides, this is probably going to be a DX266 or a DX4100 more than likely. It's not going to be a 25 megahertz. I looked this computer up on PCMag, and it was listed as being a DX4100 or a DX266. And the performance on this is magnifique, to say the least. The one I had, I loved it, and I used it until it literally would not post anymore. This and 4 NEC Versa laptops in my arsenal that I will have much DOS fun for many years to come, even if I have to minimize all the nice desktop stuff like that Compact over there. And yeah, probably at some point today when I'm feeling a little better, because I just changed the shocks in my truck today, I'll go out and do something. Anyway, let's see if we can fire this thing up and see what mysteries she has hiding under the hood. Yeah, well, I did some digging around. I finally found a power supply that works at my house, the one for my AOC LCD monitor. So we're going to go ahead and power it up. Isn't that awesome? Well, I can already see she's DTSN monochrome. So that's probably what the sticker covering over was for, was to cover up the fact that the computer is actually not color. It's actually a monochrome screen. So as you can see, we're in CMOS setup now. Yeah, I think I'll probably be upgrading this screen, because it is possible to do that. Let's go down here. Keyboard's working really good. It's better than what I expected. Hard disk drive. Let's see what that hard drive is. Yeah, so we have a size 250 megabyte, 842 cylinders, 16 heads. Precompensation is out of limits. Land zone and sectors per track, 38 in normal mode. So let's go ahead and give that one its thing. CMOS setup. Let's see if she's Y2K compliant. This is what we do at the Creeping Network when we intake new computers. Well, I guess I should say just I, because it's just me. Plug it in, we find a suitable power supply, we plug it in, we power it on, we see what it can do. There's the battery charge lights. We're going to try to hit those puppies and see what happens. Anyways, we go look at the screen. Today is April 2nd. 2022. I'm going the wrong way. We're going back in time. I'm good and probably good with this one till I die. Sheesh. Actually, the monochrome screen isn't too bad on this. Let's see here. And then it's probably around we'll just say it's 1305. That's fine. It's got a 386 SX in it. Let's see here. BIOS features setup. Enabled CA. Boot up floppy seek disabled. Control Alt Escape. All the caches and all that's available. And then let's save and exit setup and see what happens. Might even look at upgrading this to Active Matrix. My old one didn't have that startup chime. I think that's a DFI thing. Oh my god, it's booting. Partition F and G. Card ID services. Press R to retry or escape. Let's just hit escape. Someone had a backpack CD-ROM on this. Let's see what's on the hard drive. That's the next thing I do, is I usually try to find the computer's story based upon what the contents of the hard drive are. Oh yeah. Yeah, this keyboard needs some TLC. My old one was addressed really well, but okay, so here we can see we have backup. We have CardSoft, the same card software that my Versa uses. Card Viewer, DOS, so I'm willing to bet this is MS-DOS. Gmouse, that's the mouse. Bit fonts, PS fonts. Not sure what that is. WordPerfect documents, WordPerfect, because this has WordPerfect 6.0, Lotus 123, the CSS data, CSS exe, you got a few file things. Someone had an HP DeskJet on this thing, IDS, J1930, I don't even see Windows on here, so this is a pure DOS system. So, yeah, I mean, she's a DOS machine through and through. So we know she works, and then we'll probably prepare up an 80 gig hard drive in another video. But as we can see, this thing's working just fine. Let's fire it off. If we look down here, it's not even trying to charge the batteries. Probably hit those up with my charger thing. Otherwise, I'm happy with it. It powers on, it runs. It is 8 megs of RAM, not 64, but that I already knew that going in. She boots up, she has sound, she can play DOS games. I mean, this is a pretty good start for this particular laptop. We'll probably need to pull this off and find out what's under here for a screen so I can figure out, you know, what kind of panels I can actually use. what panels might be compatible with this machine, because maybe I could bump it up to active matrix. I'm not 100% sure, but that's a possibility. Haha, psych! I actually did some more exploring. We found Windows. It's looking pretty good. Let's look at what's on here. Find out more about this computer story. So yeah, like I said, it had an HP DeskJet on it. It has Microsoft Office, kind of curious, and says WordPerfect 6. Let's see it. So we have Microsoft Office. Office setup. I have Office Excel. Access. So this is a work computer for someone. Didn't see any games on there. Now you get to see why DTSN is bad for gaming. As you can see when I move the mouse cursor. Well, it looks like they turned mouse trails on to kind of help that problem. And the trackball is responsive. Some of the keys are not dead, but they're a little dirty. So we're probably going to give this thing a really nice bath. We have a bunch of LCD utilities. Probably going to go ahead and add my score. I'm going to probably run Top Bench on this next. Caterpillar Common Services. So this was a Caterpillar laptop. Yeah, that's kind of interesting because I was looking and there was an NEC Versa V75 on there. I think it was either a 75E or an V75. And down here it had a Caterpillar badge on it. So kind of interesting. It seems like maybe Caterpillar was using a mix of NanTan for some people and then NEC Versa for others. Anyways, we look up close. We got log on. So this probably is how you got onto their network back in the day. About log on. Yeah, user ID, password. Welcome to networking security in the 90s. I'm keeping this hard drive. This is going to be really interesting. And as you can see, we have audio. So we have that. Security. So this is the way you'd probably log onto the network for Caterpillar. Install application. That probably allowed you to install applications for remote support. Remove applications. Export page setup. Security management. I'm pretty sure that's for security. Other security parts of it, and database recovery. So there's probably some sort of massive database of like graders and loaders and dump trucks and all that other stuff. Anyway, let's go back here before this thing. Sometimes I hate it when my phone doesn't want to agree. Oh yeah, and I have hard drive LEDs and everything here, and it's actually something I can see, unlike on my Versa where it's on an unbacklit thing. The usual. Let's see what games are on here, if there's anything that makes a lot of noise. If not, maybe I have to put Monkey Island on this thing. So games, there's no games. They probably took them off of here so then they wouldn't be wasting their time when they're supposed to be doing Caterpillar stuff, playing solitaire. Let's see if we can tell what a DeskJet it had. And of course, I'm going to wipe all this. So it had a 690C. I had an 810C. That was like the best one. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, here's what I can deduct from this laptop now as we turn the lights on. The story of this NanTan from 1991, apparently, which must have been when they changed the name from Road Warrior to MediaBook when DFI was marketing these. The story of this one is that it was an ex-Caterpillar company laptop, just like an NEC. I like these old company laptops. They have a good story. I have one with one that's a Ford. So, being a Ford guy and having a Ford, it's kind of cool. Anyway, yeah, so we've explored Windows a little bit. We've gotten the history. It's ex-Caterpillar laptop that's been about to be rebuilt and souped up a little bit. And yeah. So hopefully this will be the last take. Making videos for this stuff is a real pain in the neck. If you ever wondered why you don't really hear much out of me on my channel very much anymore, it's just hard finding the time in between being on call and dealing with other family stuff and working on actual things that I should be doing rather than this. Anyway, learned some more stuff about the DFI, hence why I keep expanding this video and adding more freaking clips to it. First off, let's take a look at it. So first thing I learned was the charging system. If you look up over here, and yeah, I'm still using the this. I've got a universal adapter coming in for it on Monday. Well, actually, I might start messing around with a bunch of different laptops like this. Anyway, so it's red, as you can see. There's no lights here, even though it's off. Doesn't seem like the batteries are charging. Let's lift it up. Yeah, this one feels slightly warm, so it's probably trying to do something. It's not bad caps. Anyway, the way the charging system on these NanTan 9200s work is, I think this light changes color when it's off, because it only charges when off, as this is a non-APM compliant BIOS computer. And then these little lights here will turn on or maybe change color, and each one corresponds with the battery on that side. There's two batteries in here, nickel metal hydride, 1800 milliamp hour, 9.4 volts or something like that. Not nearly as efficient as my NEC Versa M75 over there. It's got 7.2 volts, 3800 to 4000 milliamp hour battery in it. I took out the SX25 and put in a DX266. I think this might actually be hardwired for a 25 megahertz system bus. It's because I went through here. There's like 8 dip switches over here. I'll explain what those do in a moment. And there's a series of jumpers underneath in there. And yeah, I know there's noise in the background. My neighbors are talking or my freaking window. Whatever. Anyway, there's memory underneath there. But underneath the memory, there's a bunch of jumpers. I found one of them, if you pull that jumper, it will shoot it up to clock triple mode. And then you end up running at about 80 megahertz on this particular thing for some weird reason. I don't know. It was just making the DX266 run at a different clock speed. It runs pretty fast, but it crashes the memory manager in free DOS. I think there's something that the DX266 can't keep up with memory-wise. At that speed. Anyway, the chip itself is an Intel 4060X266. It's got a Cyrix heatsink cover on it. We'll probably throw a DX475 in here at some point. The dip switch is over here. What those do, I found out the top one turns the chime on and off, the first dip switch. By chime, I mean this, when you power it on. That. So if I look down here, if I turn switch 1 off, it just does the beep. So it's kind of amazing to have a power on self-test that's tethered to the sound card. You probably never see anything like that normally on this era of computer, let alone a laptop. This is pretty deluxe for that kind of era. The other switches all have to do with the interrupt requests, PMAs, port settings, and all that mess for the sound card and AdLib and all that mess. Because I found if I changed them up, sometimes the sound card wouldn't work or it couldn't be found. Function keys, I'm getting used to some of them. There seems to be some ability to control, the screen direction on here. But for some weird reason, it doesn't interrupt properly without some kind of special utility. So I might have to take the other hard disk and pull some data off of it. CRT LCD here, function, that doesn't work. I've noticed a lot of these first 3 function things don't really work unless there's a graphics driver or something loaded probably. Because otherwise it just beeps and acts like a regular function key is there. These are your 2 contrast controls. This one brings it down. And this one right here brings it up. And it's actually looks pretty nice when you dial it in. It's actually really crisp right now. Even crisper than you're seeing on camera. The scratch and screen's not too bad. We'll get to the screen in a moment. We've got the brightness controls, of course, don't do jack, except make the darn thing flicker around a little bit. Doesn't seem like it really does anything. I mean, it does a little bit, but not enough to count. And then you have your speaker controls over here for the Sound Blaster compatible ESS 488. Let's go ahead and reboot it again. My ginormous fingers here. Anyway, talking about the screen a little bit. The screen, we took all this apart. I noticed a few things inside. First off, I noticed there were 3 cables coming off the motherboard in here. Those 3 cables seem very similar to what my Versas have inside. And they run up to a board down here that's actually the inverter and power board for the CFL and for the distribution to the screen. And because of that, I was kind of like, okay, let's see if we can fit the, let's see if we can take the 3 connectors off the inverter board and run them up to the one of my Versa screens. And of course we tried that and it didn't work. I don't think the Versas are really capable of that sort of thing. If anyone knows where I could get a pinout for this or figure one out, it'd be awesome. The screen itself is a Casio 9.4 inch LCD. You put the part number on the screen somewhere. I took a look at it. It's actually pretty simple, thin little assembly. There's plenty of room in there to put a much more robust panel. If someone else has one of these that's color, if you could let me know what panel you have, I could probably figure out and find it. Because I do want to upgrade this, at least upgrade it to color. I actually don't have much trouble with DTSN. I will show you why DTSN is bad for gaming, though, real quick here. There you go, there's Wolf 3D. Let's turn the volume up. One other thing I found out about this, down here's your jacks for your sound card. The freaking headphone jack is alive as hell. Yeah, I mean, I plugged my headphones in that. It was basically like when I go ahead and stick my ears up to this thing on 11. I mean, sheesh. You can use my headset as an internal speaker on this laptop. Also found the floppy drive didn't want to boot off the top bench disk, so But it hangs anyway on the CPU, probably because I have it running at the wrong speed because it's hardwired for 25 megahertz. This is DX266. The bus is a DX, or the processor is a DX266, but the bus is running at 25, so it's underclocked. So let's start a new game. So let's take a look at how well the controls have to be used. So we can turn it up a little brighter, or we can turn it up with the contrast up. It seems like the contrast does best a little bit lower down for Wolfenstein. Full sound. Yeah, it kind of gives your games sort of almost like a fever dream or a backrooms effect. Been running down that rabbit hole lately. The backrooms. What is this? Level 989, 1989, something like that. You're trapped in a maze with, not trapped in a maze with freaking soldiers that want to kill you. That would be a good way to troll the backrooms. Just give them the plot of Wolfenstein 3D. If you push on walls in certain spots, you might actually find almond water. Anyway, go away. Not doing too bad considering the fact I'm playing this on one hand. But yeah, you can see it kind of... Like, here's a few of the things. First off, when you're moving around on these types of LCDs, if any of you ever played the old gray brick Game Boy, it's like a worse version of that. It really ghosts a lot, giving it sort of that fever dream effect, as I call it. You get weird artifacts like this, like doors are just radiating. It's like it literally... This is some crazy looking stuff. I could probably do some pretty cool music video things with this. Anyway, so I tore the screen out. It's a Casio panel. We're gonna kind of look at it. Maybe I'll learn some things. I did see a guy who actually did convert a IBM ThinkPad PC 110 2 active matrix, so I can't think that'd be utterly impossible to convert this DFI to that, which would make this another great MS-DOS gaming platform that's portable. I've also tried rejuvenating the batteries, and they're starting to hold a charge. I even pressed the button last night and got to click and got the power light to come on for like a millisecond, so we're getting there. The guy I've been kind of reading stuff from is YYZ Kevin. He's also the same dude I always reference when I'm talking about those PCMcia sound card projects that are going on. Apparently there's another guy, Yatsa, who has one called the Card Barker that's already pretty much in prototype, up and going, gearing up for production phases or something. But YYZ Kevin took a PC-110, that's the little micro-sized ThinkPad laptop that LGR did that has like a cell phone built into it, and it has a DTSN passive matrix screen, of course. Based on how this is wired, I really think that there's a possibility that this could be converted to work with an NEC panel, possibly. And if that's possible, that'd be awesome, because it basically makes this thing even more rugged than an NEC. These NanTans are not prone to plastic cracking. You notice this thing's... There's no tape, there's no... I haven't had to baking soda super glue it. I mean, I had 2 screw anchors pull out in the top of the screen, but they had the forethought to actually put a snap around here. So, and even then, the screw anchors just came out cleanly, so I could probably just baking soda and super glue those back in. Other than that, I'd say we'll probably check back in this in months when I've finally done some more stuff to it. Oh yeah, another thing that I was thinking about maybe doing is maybe getting my SMD soldering skills up. The memory card in this only has 8 chips on it. The motherboard has 4 megs. This has 4 megs. It means 512K chips are in there. Maybe I could stack that whole thing full with 512K chips and give this thing just gobs of memory to work with at some point. As these 486 laptops get older, and as there's a ton of them out there on eBay that aren't that expensive like this, because they have the DTSN screen and no sound, and as more stuff comes around for them, the more we can make these machines good retro boxes and get rid of them for their stuff. I've also thought about maybe even starting to buy these up, the really broken ones, and flipping them for more than I bought them for. Anyway, that should give you a good idea of the NanTan 9200, in this case DFI Brand, MediaBook branded version. There's also the ProStar, Sager, Ultinet, Eurocom, Duracom, Eurobook. There's a bunch of different brands that these things go under. So hopefully you enjoy the video, and this is Creeping Net signing out. I gotta edit and put all this crap together.